Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to my third and final Final Fantasy Omniscience Draft for the weekend. If we don't open up a draw 4 this time, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. I cannot take this anymore. I just want to get one trophy run, and the only way to really do that in Omniscience is to get very lucky within the draft pod itself. The most important part of Omniscience drafts is what you open and get past during the draft, how much card draw it is, and if you got specifically really big card draw spells like the 7 mana draw 4. That is perfect when you're casting everything for free. One of the most guaranteed ways to win any game you cast it in, because that chains so much, digs so far through your deck, it chains into a bunch of other card draw and easily wins the game. So we'll see what we can get here as we head into our final Omniscience draft this time around. And unfortunately, our pack 1 has no straight up card draw. There's one Blitzball, but these boards get really cluttered up if you're not winning just in one turn with like a one turn kill. So this is almost impossible to activate because everybody is drawing into like 10 cards plus and flooding the board with creatures by the time you can declare an attack. So Blitzball is not a consistent way to draw cards at all, which leaves us with a bunch of incredibly bad cards for Omniscience. One filler top end card with Iron Giant, and another filler top end card that at least might be multiple creatures off of the one spell. So this is just a strictly better Iron Giant, basically. So we take the Gilgamesh here. It's also pseudo card draw if we randomly hit equipments off it. Technically, it's like we drew those cards, but the whole point of the card draw is looping into more card draw so you can cast like half your deck. This is never looping into card draw. It's just putting one or two other creatures on board. Still the only pick there. Pick number 2. What have we here? Once again, 0 card draw. There is a Shiva which draws cards 2 turns after you play it, which is very slow by Omniscience draft standards. The game's going to be over 2 turns after you cast this card a lot of the time. Either you've died or your opponent's died. So what we have when there's no good card draw is Haste Magic, which pseudo card draw. It only draws a single card, and you have to have the mana from the emblem to cast that card, because Omniscience Emblem only lets you cast cards from your hand for free, not from exile. So this is pretty narrow as a cycler. I do not love it. Or we have Black Mage's Rod. If we get this on the board and then loop all our card draw together, we can kill our opponent with all the ping damage. Or we have Absolute Virtue, which if we manage to protect this, we can't lose the game. So that seems like one of the best random big creatures to play at the end of all our card draw. So we'll take the Absolute Virtue here, and I think we take Hexproofy, Counterspelly Tricks pretty high. Definitely not over card draw, but probably over other random creatures. So we'll grab Absolute Virtue there. Pick number 3. Look at that. Not a single card that draws even 1 card, let alone 2. This is a really awkward start to an Omniscience draft. We at least have 2 really huge threats to play when we're done drawing cards. But no card draw 3 picks in is very awkward. We could take Cornered by Black Mages, again, the Black Mage token, allowing us to try to ping our opponent for the kill over time. Ice Magic with good enter effects can be relevant. We could surveil a little with Golbez, potentially. There's really not a ton else. The cards that care about spending 4 or more mana on your spells, they care about spending the mana. They don't care about the mana value of the spell you're casting. They care about how much mana you actually spent. So if you spend 0 mana on a 4 mana spell, you don't trigger these cards. So they're a lot more narrow, but they still trigger every time you're flashing stuff back. And you are going to be flashing stuff back off of the emblem. So they do a little bit, but not as much as you would think. It could just be Light of Judgment random removal. Cornered by Black Mage is probably better than Light of Judgment in this format. Yeah, I think it's Cornered or Ice Magic, and they're both not very good. I guess Rapier works with Gilgamesh, but again, the board is always so cluttered up that trying to, cast a million spells and attack with a 20 power Rapier hero is not going to be a win con, because your opponent can just block it by the time you're doing that very easily. I'll take a Cornered by Black Mages here. Not excited about this draft at all so far. Pick number 4. There is 1 draw 1, and that's it. We take it and cycle. Pick number 5. There we go. Our first good draw spell, Resentful Revelation, draws the best card out of our top 3, which helps it dig a little farther, trying to find another draw 2 or better out of our deck. Pick number 6. Discard a card, draw a card immediately, and if the game does go long, it does it again. Ifrit looks the best here. Draw 3, discard 2 is huge. That is a lot of digging. Discarding is not that painful in this format because you are playing 40 non-land cards and we're drafting 42 non-land cards total. Well, 42 cards total, so we only cut like 2 cards from our deck. That means we're going to be left with some bad filler, so there's often going to be something to randomly discard without feeling bad about it. Pick 8, we can either try to Zidane, steal one of our opponent's few big blockers to help kill them in one turn, or we can take a Namazu Trader, which isn't often relevant, but it does help flash things back, like a Resentful Revelation. If we get 2 random treasure tokens throughout the game, that's the only way we would ever flash this back, is by getting some random incidental mana, like on the Trader. So Trader's more consistent, I think. Zidane's more explosive. I'm going to take the Trader. Pick number 9. Now we take the random Iron Giant. Yep. Pick number 10. Unexpected Request is very similar to Zidane. Just helps get your last second kills. Ice Flan might be better. These are pretty close. The Omniscience games, again, take like 3-4 turns on average. They're really, really fast. So both of these cards are really good when the game is so quick. Just steal a blocker and hit them with it, or stun one of their blockers / attackers for 1 turn is actually quite a long time by Omniscience standards. Do really like both. I'm going to take the Flan here. I like random encounter a lot in this format, and the more creatures you have, the better random encounter gets. So I'll lean on creatures when the cards are pretty comparable in power. This one's pretty bad. We'll take the Rapier now for our Gilgamesh at least, because of how bad that creature is. Here's Aerith Rescue Mission. 3 1/1s for chump blockers against giant creatures can be relevant, and then the tap the 3 creatures on your opponent's board could also find lethal. It's definitely one of your last most filler additions to your deck, but we're going to have to run a few of those, as I've said before. Pack 2, pick 1. Look at that, baby, no card draw. We've got a Black Mage's Rod, which gets us ping damage as we're trying to loop draw spells together, and it can get to the board with Gilgamesh. Or another Ice Flan, or Renoa. 2 creatures off 1 spell is pretty reasonable. I think I'm on Black Mage's Rod for synergies, but that is a huge miss of a pack. Now we have a Resentful Revelation as the best draw, and that is it. So we take that. Pick number 3. Choco Comet doesn't work, because X is 0 if you're casting this for 0 mana. So you need a treasure token or something to actually get double red, and then X would be 4. Double red and 4 off of a treasure. Probably supposed to be Dreams of Laguna, but Ether with the right instant or sorcery can just win the game out of nowhere. We don't have the right instant or sorcery at all yet, so probably just supposed to be on Dreams of Laguna. Marlboro is also okay. Pick 4, another Resentful Revelation. That one is easy. Pick number 5. Zidane, I guess? Zidane or Warrior Sword? Yikes. Pick 6. Merchant is really slow, but it does draw cards over time. The Gigas might just be better. Trample Haste, get that damage in. Maybe the Cornered by Black Mages as well. Man, we have just had a rough time with these draft pods. Another Dreams of Laguna. Light up the stage again. You have to spend the 1 mana of every color you get from the emblem on this, so you could strand some 6 mana cards in exile off of Light Up the Stage and not be able to cast them. Giat does discard and draw a card off of every equipment we play, so Giat plus Gilgamesh is kind of funny. But Dreams of Laguna is just much more consistent. Same with why we're taking it over Ether there. Still don't have anything that matters for Ether. Alright, man, sacks are really filler, mediocre creatures to draw a card off of the emblem mana. Or we could just take Instant Ramen here. So I'll go for the Instant Ramen. Immediate Cycle. Pick 9. Pretty mid. No draw. It's either the Flan or just the Sword because of Gilgamesh. Go Sword because of Gilgamesh. We're now 2/3 of the way through the draft and have found no random encounters, so I guess I can just take equipment pretty highly instead. Creatures. I feel like Gigas is probably better than Instant Ramen. Draw 1s aren't that insane. Here's an Ether. Warrior Sword over Iron Giant, though. Iron Giant is a lot bigger, but Warrior Sword because Gilgamesh. Do it. Another Warrior Sword. Dovin's Veto actually might be reasonable here. I mean, we've done 2 other drafts. We haven't gotten a trophy run, so we've lost 6 games total. I think 5 out of our 6 losses was because our opponent resolved the 7 mana draw 4. Thing is just completely unbeatable. And the most important spells in this format are non-creature spells. I'm actually going to go Veto over Warrior Sword. I would be so excited about this card if it was in a pack with like anything else, but the fact that Warrior Sword's actually good with Gilgamesh makes it slightly awkward. But I feel like Veto is probably actually legit. Ooh, whenever you cast a legendary, draw a card, or combat tutorial, draw 2. I don't think we can take the legend. If we had it pack 1, pick 1, we could have done that and then taken a bunch of legends and been really happy, but we have 2 legends in our entire deck. Okay, we have 3 legends in our entire deck. This is just much less consistent card draw than combat tutorial. So we take that. It takes a single pack and the card draw is all dry. I guess Choco is a 3/5 that draws 1. The sheer lack of draw 2s has been real disappointing. There's 1 random encounter. We could try to do that. We've got some big creatures for it. But my creature count's pretty low because I've drafted a lot of equipment now towards Gilgamesh because we didn't see one of these in the second pack, so Choco's probably better. I guess this doesn't draw a card until it attacks. That is super awkward, but it does still draw a card. It's better than anything else in here, except maybe random encounter, but our creature count is so low for that. Here's another combat tutorial. A little sad I have to take it over the Black Waltz because that's a great win condition. All the ping damage as you're looping, but we're not doing any looping right now if we're not taking more combat tutorial cards. Pick 4. The Ifrit discards and draws just off of entering. Quistis recasts the best card draw out of the grave, but Laughing Mad is discard 2, draw 4, guaranteed. More consistent than Quistis. Yeah, and it is pretty great. Dreams of Laguna or Ifrit, or whatever. We'll take Dreams of Laguna. No more card draw. I'll take an 8/8. No card draw here either. We'll take another 8/8. I have really slow draw and discard with the Merchant. Not completely unusable, but I do think an 8/8 is probably better. I can never recast this. So I take a filler equipment for Gilgamesh to hit more often, a filler removal spell, or pick up 1 permanent from our grave with Eden. Just seems pretty bad. Could pick up an instant ramen from grave. If we sack it, that's a way to turn that into a draw spell. These all seem pretty narrow and pretty bad. I'll go for the Eden, because it's funny. We'll try out picking up some ramen. Pick 10, well, I'll certainly play random encounter, even in a lower creature count, over a Blazing Bomb or a Blitz Ball. Now that I've got random encounter, I will take the Gigas over the sword. Gigas is better by itself, and now I have one card that wants the sword and one that wants the Gigas, so we'll just give it to the one that's better by itself. Some good last pick additions, luckily. Literally last picky freak. Let's go. Alright, well, this is my last draft of the Omniscience Drafts, and they've been kind of depressing. We have never gotten a draw spell that's more than a draw 2, but I've been playing against draw 4s 24/7. So we've just been outclassed in every single draft, and that is going to stay the case here for our final draft. Still think we've drafted pretty reasonably, done about the best we can do here. It's just not that good. It's certainly disappointing. Lots of little individual card draw this time around. Really attempt a lot of digging here. If we get to the point we're going to mill out, we'll have already drawn so many cards, we're just going to win. So ditch Elix or Phoenix down. Sure. Call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay. Hope RNG is in our favor here. If we can't open incredible cards, maybe we can just finally dodge the incredible cards from our opponents. Maybe in this last draft I can just not play against the draw 4 in one draft. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. This would be a mulligan in good decks, but this is not a super good deck. So I think we just keep it here and play the beef. We'll get rid of the Summoning Sickness, we'll just slam them down now. And let's see how much card draw our opponent opened. Pray it's not a lot. If they had Dreams of Laguna or the discard 1 draw 2 in their hand, the Laughing Mad, they should have done it during our turn so they could use the Emblem Mana during our turn and theirs. So that narrows down 2 card draw spells they don't have in their opening hand, unless they top decked one. So that's a good start. Okay. No card draw, just creatures. It's fair enough. Very balanced board state here. Marlborough exiles 2 Trample Hastes and an Ochu. That's sad, but it didn't exile any card draw, which is the most important card. And here it is, Dreams of Laguna. Find the Freet. No cards in hand, that's not a good draw. I need a 2-card hand for that to be worth it. Zidane is huge here. Phenomenal. Gain 9 life. And they're playing off the top. Top deck is a flan, so they're not dead. The tap and the stun here. They don't have any life gain, though. Oh, the Trample Haster. Oh, that's a good draw. Warrior Sword and equip it to the Gigas. Eight power against that 8 toughness, and it's too big for the Flan to kill now. I don't have the mana to use Cooking Campsite because I did the equip. I could equip the Rapier though. I would have had the mana for that off the treasure token. So I could have had this be 10 power with trample. I should have done that. I guess they would just double block and I still only kill one of the two. Yeah, it wouldn't have changed anything actually. Oh god, combat tutorial's a really good draw. Threatens to start the card draw chain. And even just draw two creatures is good against this board right now. Yep, the Esperama kills the 1/1. Trying to juice up as high toughness as they can over there against the Iron Giant. They have 11 toughness, we have 6 power right now. And an 8 toughness Iron Giant. If I equip the Rapier, that's another +2. So it'll be 11 power. Double block, we still trample a little. That feels worth it. Goodbye, treasure. Wait, that's 3 to equip? Oh. I'm dumb. I thought that was 2 to equip. God dang it. So I get to use the campsite instead then. So it still has 9 power. So they're going to Phoenix down the Esper thing. It's not going to kill anybody with all this 4 toughness stuff. See what the top deck is here. They have 14 power on their board. They equip the sword. And they have 17. I will have to block somewhere. This has been the most surprisingly creature-based, regular, back and forth game that I have had out of all 3 of these drafts so far. Hit for 13. Alright, I'm going to be dead in 2 swings regardless. The whole board gets trampled from Chocobo, so... Take this and keep our 1 untapped threat, just in case we hit Aerith Rescue Mission, we can lethal. And if we hit any card draw, we try to do the card draw loops to dig far. That's the plan. Let's see what we draw. Ifrit does not do it with no other cards in hand, and that is a game. Super dead to the trample. Yep. All right. 0-1 in the most regular, normal game of Magic we've had all weekend. All right, this is one of the best hands we've opened in all of this this stuff. I don't think the +1/+1 counter matters a lot in Omniscience. I'm just going to lead with this. So I still have Choco as an option to discard, and drawing 2 gives me more options to discard before I play card collection. Oh yeah. Laughing Mad the Choco, I guess. Probably. Yeah, Gilgamesh is better than Choco. I will draw that. Dreams of Laguna, that's a cool one. I'm going to lead with Gilgamesh here to dig some equipment out of our deck so we don't top deck those. Just leave it where it is. Definitely draw combat tutorial. Play the Haster first. Rapier onto the Gigas could get a turn 1 kill. But I would tap out of flashing back is the problem. I don't think it's worth tapping out of the Laughing Mad flashback. Just take the Dovin's Vita there. So it's worth noting I would have stopped drawing cards by now and stopped getting Rapier triggers if I had moved it over, because I wouldn't have had the mana to flashback that Laughing Mad. So we would have only given the Gigas like +4 power for the turn. Rod could find a kill too, but Ether on Revelation is very good. I think I have to Ether on Revelation. I guess I end up like milling my whole deck here. I'm milling 6 now. Oh, I forgot to activate Ether. Well, we'll have it on a Dreams of Laguna flashback instead. I guess at least this way I mill less. Marlboro. Oh. Well, I have to Dreams of Laguna. Or I have to discard my counter spell, so let's Dreams of Laguna. And that's going to mill me 3 as well, so I kind of don't want to reveal anything to the grave, but just want to be like, yeah, sure. Flan can help find the lethal, so let's just discard the Reet. Lunatic Pandora is fine. It basically doesn't do anything. Another Marlboro's bad. They surveil with one card left in their hand. They're still dead on board, and we have veto up for their last play. And there's the concession. That is 1-1 heading into game 3. Beautiful hand on the play. Do some digging. These are pretty bad. Guess I can combat tutorial onto an Iron Giant instead of a Warrior's Sword and save the Warrior's Sword to discard if we hit an Ifrit or something. Just gonna say Ifrit different every time I say it. Those draws were absolute poop. We have 4 different discard a card, draw cards in this deck. It is kind of difficult to justify not holding on to a card, but the problem I have with that is that then it just takes one Marlboro to kind of ruin the holding on to a card plan anyway. I still think I do it, but we might just get Marlboro'd here. Yep. Jesus. They exiled 3 draw spells. Did they just... This is our millionth travel the overworld from our opponents in these events. And the 0 for us. While we lose. Travel the overworld kind of single-handedly digs far enough to guarantee the card draw loop just continues forever and you lose. Yeah, Sorcerer's Scheme's Travel the Overworld really does it. That's draw 12. Alright. Said it many times before, but this is the format of games being completely determined by the draft pod rather than the gameplay or even sometimes how well you draw within the games. Right, if your deck just doesn't have Travel the Overworld, it doesn't really matter how well you draw against a deck that does. 1 and 2 heading into game 4. I feel like I'd take another Revelation over a Gilgamesh. Trying to find a draw 2. Get ahead. Okay. I do need to keep at least, like, a threat here, so I'm going to keep the Hillgigas. Fate of the Suncrest, the side quest. You got it, for sure. Alright, hit for 10. Let's go. I probably should have discarded this to Laughing Mad during our opponent's turn instead. Gilgamesh? If Gilgamesh misses, that's game. It did not miss. That is a free equip on Genji Glove, and in this format you can keep re-equipping it for free. Okay, we need to kill them in our next turn or they're going to kill us with Genji Glove. So... oh dear. That's a start. Do you think I have to draw that? Okay. That helps too. Wow. Those are some hits. I'll borrow that Gilgamesh. Oop. Wrong one. Well. Forgot we had a Zidane in this deck. That's just the auto win. Zidane there, Genji gloved Gilgamesh. That's so rude. But it will be the victory for us. That's 2-2. We're only 1 win away from getting at least a 50-50 record on every draft, which again, considering what we managed to open in our draft pods, I think would be a very respectable record this time around. I just would have liked to get a 7-win Travel the Overworld banger of a deck, but it was not to be this time. Alright, we're on the draw, so it's possible we die before we even get a turn. That's just how Omniscience is. If we get a turn, though, this hand can definitely dig far. If we get Malburrowed, we have an easy discard of Dreams of Laguna because we get to flash that back. In fact, I'm supposed to just Dreams of Laguna before they pass back to me so I can flash it back and still have all my mana from the emblem next turn. Ignis, Crystal Fragments. What is the last card here? I can dig for Dovin's Veto if it's particularly bad. Can't dig very far, but just in case it's in the top 4 off Dreams of Laguna, we could do it. Ride the Shoe Puff. That is completely useless. Alright, our opponent just drew 3 really bad cards here. So these are probably some of the last playables. Or this might be the first time they've done Omniscience Draft and they thought that they had infinite mana for the emblem, so that this would be a 7/7. This would be a 4/3 flyer. Sadly, that is not how Omniscience works, so we are in a very, very good position to start this game off. Potentially get our 3rd victory here. Let's see. I will definitely take a Black Mage's Rod. That is a good way to try to get a bunch of damage in here. Good win condition for us. Let's go. Frida's great here. Absolute Virtue is probably the best of those. I don't find Eden particularly impressive here. Second Black Mage token is cool, although I'm not casting any more spells now. Non-creature spells, I should say. I guess there's one. Play some 8/8s and see if they top decking out or not. Ultima. Ultima, and the next turn travel the overworld. We would lose hard. Or if they just drew travel the overworld now and then that drew the Ultima. It is a 3-2. Loperate Scout. So they are very, very dead on board. And we did it officially at least 3-3 or better in all of our Omniscience drafts this time around. And that is 3-2 heading into game number 6. Got the Revelation to try to find another draw spell, and we have the Hill Giant at least. Keep this. Beautiful. I like Veto a lot, but I think I have to take Combat Tutorial over it. Alright. Not particularly explosive by Omniscience standards, but we'll see what our opponent has. Aerial unit to surveil before they play any card draw. Side quest card collection, draw 3, discard 2. It's pretty great. Triple Aerith Rescue, that's so funny. Omega. Laughing Mad, alright. Empty-handed though, so we'll see how far the Laughing Mad gets them. It's draw 4 at worst. So they had a draw 3, discard 2, now a draw 4, discard 2. Very, very good start. Yep, Fat Chocobo's a lot of stats on the board. Last card is Rook Turret. They are not flashing back Laughing Mad. Speaking of Laughing Mad, I need Choco to draw a card to use it here, so I have to Chump Attack. That 8-8 is a problem, but yeah, I have to Chump Attack. Put one of them into your hand. Yes. It's basically the same whatever way I do it. I'm just going to Laughing Mad ditch the Dreams. I guess I can ditch whatever the Dreams draws. And that could change my mind. Yeah, Random Encounter could do it. I mean, it's not going to kill them on this board, but I get to draw those creatures to my hand for later. Alright, I already attacked. Having Zidane for later is nice. They don't have any creatures with relevant abilities for me, do they? No. Maybe Rook Turret, but I don't think I'm playing any artifacts. Trader is one artifact token. But I'm just going to ditch to Laughing Mad here. If I don't find something better than Trader. Okay. Didn't find something better than Trader. There's the artifacts. Draw a card, discard a card. Thank you, Rook Turret. Thank you to Zidane. Dreams of Laguna's the draw. By Freak. Ochu, very bad. Iron Giant. Some May ability. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I will not choose to just mill one. Okay. So now they have the blind Laughing Mad draw, and then we can steal their 8-8 and attack with everybody. Try to win that way. Warrior's Sword. Draw a card and discard a card. Sir Conrad's is really good here with how cluttered the board is. It's kind of terrifying. Surveil before that lands, so I'm not pinging myself for any extra damage. Late enough in my deck now, I just need to play threat. I am going to gain a lot of life here, at least. This turn. Hello, Gilgamesh. You know what's interesting? I guess if I had 2 of these out, that would be the mana I need for... I need 3 of them out. We have 5 mana per turn. We need 8 for that. Okay, never mind. That's less interesting. All right, 2 massive threats. So Zidane them for now, play 2 massive threats, and hope to get a 2-turn kill. Hope and pray. Oh, what if I control the Sir Conrad during this combat? Is that bigger than taking the 8-8? I feel like that's not as good as taking the 8-8. But it might be better. It's hard to say. It's probably better, right? Because they want to get this back, so they kind of have to like try to not block it. And he's the one dealing the damage. So be gaining life too. All right, let's just see what happens. I have no idea how much damage this is, we'll just find out. That's lethal off Sir Conrad triggers. Let's go! Sir Conrad's nuts! Alright. 4 and 2. Another positive win rate run here. 4-3 into 3-3 into at least 4 wins on our final Omniscience Draft with Final Fantasy. Alright, game 7 now, 4-2 right now. Relying on Dreams to get somewhere here, but we've got 5 damage turn 1 no matter what. Dreams does definitely get somewhere, hitting Resentful Revelation. Shit's combat tutorial. Zidane's a spicy one, but I can't take that over combat tutorial. There's their Dreams of Laguna. I don't think I realized this during our first draft. Maybe not even during the second one, but definitely do want to play it and flashback it during your opponent's turn if you're on the draw. They are playing a mountain, so they might have only gotten 39 playables. That, or they did not really know how this works when they built their deck. I'll take Eden, honestly. Obviously, I'm not using it immediately. I guess I can use it immediately, but I like having the option of Oh wait, I can't use it. We already used this mana. I like the option of picking up Zidane. Is what it is. Also a town for Omega. But that doesn't matter. They have no creatures on board, and I'm not going to hold these in hand to get Malborode. Okay. Let's see what they've got here. Great start. Draw 2. There's the Ifrit. Discard one of their filler cards, draw a card. It's a land. Resentful Revelation. They're running at least 2 lands. So maybe they cut their absolute worst cards for some random lands to help flashback Resentful Revelation and stuff. I could actually see that being pretty reasonable. Like if you have something really bad like Lunatic Pandora or Elixir as your last few playables, land might be better. Get to 6 and 7 mana flashbacks. Oh, there's the Black Mage's Rod. There's a win condition right there. Cycle an Airship Crash. The Rod is down. Fight on. Pick up the Elder for another Mage and a Valkyrie aerial unit to surveil more. There's the Elder. Instant Ramen double ping, draw 1. Laughing Mad is the last card in hand. Looking for something good in the top 2. Another draw 2. Garland. And a Revelation. I probably undervalued Garland. I forgot about him surveilling off all the non-creatures. It's a lot of digging. And no more iconic way to end it than by losing to Travel the Overworld, as we have in 7 out of 9 losses, I think. Might as well have double draw 4. Alright, there's no way they're not. Black Mage pinging me for at least 5 off that. Another excellent deck from our opponent, and the game was determined before it even started by draft pod quality, but that is what these Omniscience events are about if you are interested in that kind of random chaos nonsense. So I did like that our opponent was playing some basics there. I think that was actually pretty smart. Now that I think of it, for some of the more expensive flashbacks, like a random encounter flashback, or a revelation flashbacks. Like we've got 3 revelations in a random encounter. So like something like Grand Pulse Ochu, maybe like to catch a fish even, it might be better to just be playing a random swamp or random mountain. So that off of just like a floating Ifrit mana in one of those lands, we actually do get some flashbacks on these cards. So there's a chance if your 37th to 40th playable are bad enough that a basic land might actually be better. Like, still more often than not, like they did, you'll probably end up discarding them to Laughing Mads or Ifrits, but on occasion they'll be relevant. I feel like cards like Ochu will almost never be. So that was a pretty interesting thing they did that I think was a nice call from them. Pretty cool. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we could have drafted much better in these events. We just didn't have the winning draft pods. No Travel the Overworlds opened a single time. So 4-3, 3-3, 4-3 it is. Very average runs for some very average draft pods. And that, more than anything else, is the determining factor on how well you are going to do in these quick drafts. There's not a massive skill differential going on within the games themselves. They're very much games of solitaire. So 4-3 is going to be the max best record we had for the weekend. But yeah, average stuff this time around for the Final Fantasy Omniscience drafts. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm, send us more in a recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel and the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.